Well, that's your comedy club. Dude, I love that you called your comedy rooms after the 2 nuclear bombs. But that already shows there's no rules.
There's no rules.
It's over.
And I was worried about that at first. I was like, God, this is so
But that's
disrespectful.
perfect. That's letting you know there are no rules.
Do you know one of the reasons why I decided to definitely call it that?
Why?
Because I told it to Louis C.K. and he went, ah! I go, that's it. It has to be that. And also, it's part of UFO folklore. One of the main reasons why I wanted to have them, because I knew I had 2 rooms and I knew there was 2 bombs. And it was after those 2 nuclear bombs were dropped that they started. Kenneth Arnold had his sightings. Roswell, New Mexico had that big sighting. Like all the big events of UFO folklore happened after the bomb. And the idea is that these interdimensional beings, these they go, okay, these fucking crazy territorial apes have now developed nuclear bombs.
We gotta show
this could
up.
be very dangerous because if these idiots arm themselves as we have right now to the point where they can blow up the whole world like many, many times over, they might do it. Let's make sure everything's cool. And so that's when all the UFOs started. So for the Comedy Mothership, with this UFO-based thing, we kind of had to have those as the name because that's what sends out the signal.
Yeah.
Those bombs, Fat Man and Little Boy, those bombs are that's what, if you believe, and I love to believe. I don't 100% believe, but I kind of love to believe. I love to at least talk about it. If you believe that we were visited multiple times by alien life and a lot of it happened after 1947, makes sense.
Well, yeah, if the universe is infinite and there's a higher species out there, you would look at Earth and you'd be interested.
100%. And then
what the fuck is...
who knows what happened in Roswell was so the bombs were 45, Roswell was 47. Who knows what really happened at Roswell? But they do know that whatever they did, they took that wreckage and they flew it in 2 separate jets to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base because they didn't. If one of the jets went down, they wanted to make sure they still had the wreckage. They put it in 2 different jets. That's how important this shit was.
Who's
whatever
that guy,
the fuck it was.
Bob
Lazar.
Who had that crazy story. I just remember one story where he told that there were like multiple doors open and it was an act because they were separated or something where he was working on, and by accident he like saw the spaceship like through the doors, and I remember being like, holy shit.
Well, he saw, when he went in to see it for the first time, it had an American flag sticker on it, and his first inclination was, oh, this is why people keep seeing these things, these are ours. But then the way it's described, now who knows if it's true?
Yeah, who knows?
Okay, but I love to believe it is. And the way he describes it is like they essentially brought him in and said, tell me what this is. Figure this out. How does this work? What is it? And they really never did. They kind of got a working understanding of it, but it based on some element that was only theoretical at the time, now been proven by one of the particle colliders. They created this particle.
Hadron particle collider, right?
Well, yeah. The
one in Switzerland?
Yeah, that's where it is, right? That's the...
That's creating black holes? Huh?
Yeah, that's what they're worried about. Bro. It's going to make a black hole that shoots
I remember I did
your...
like mushrooms for the first time and I started reading about it. I'm like, great.
Those super nerds are going to kill us all. But they they did discover that this element that Bob Lazar theorized exists. But then what I've heard is like they already knew that that was going to be an element. So him saying that there's a lot of things like the Higgs boson, there's a lot of things that they knew existed, but they needed to get proof of it through the particle colliders. And so a lot of people aren't that impressed with that. But he said they had a stable isotope. They had a stable version of this element, and this is what powered this generator. And this stable version of this element would sit inside of this container, and it would be bombarded with radiation, and it would somehow or another manipulate gravity. It's the wildest story ever, the most fun story ever.
Yeah.
But he essentially said they were trying for years to try to figure out how to reproduce it, and they couldn't figure out how it worked. They did a bunch of different things. One guy died apparently trying to cut into it.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that was a guy before him apparently. Yeah, and then there was the wackiest thing of all that we talked about this yesterday. That they said that they had a big thing on religion, and one of the things that they said that they look at us as containers. Yeah, and it's like. That religion was here so that we don't damage what's inside the container. The religion was put here to give people rules and regulations so they could follow, so they don't destroy their souls. So like they're just harvesting our souls, and making sure our souls don't go rotten.
Because we will be just sucking and fucking and sucking.
Right. No, imagine that. If that's what happens, that's how they trick you into downloading your brain into a computer. That's it. That's the end result. They're just trying to get that soul. and then you are just trapped, and that's what hell really is.
Mm-hmm.
Just stuck on a hard drive with nothing there. Imagine living your whole life being paralyzed, but you don't need food or water, but you're lying on the floor of an empty empty office building. That's you inside a computer forever.
In the void.
Ah! And they don't download anybody else onto your hard drive either.
In the
Because
void.
if they have other people on that hard drive, it'll ruin the hard drive. We can't have
of
your
course.
code, my code mixing together. Oh, come on here.